to another episode of Longley's Line Podcast. I am your host, Stephen Longley. Remember to like, follow, subscribe on all of our social medias. Stephen Longley for me, Longley's Line for the show, Light Styles Studio for our studio here. And as you all know, we bring in guests from all over the entertainment industry, and today is no different. Today I have Mr. Nomar Mendoza.
Hello.
Nomar, thank you for being here.
Happy to be here.
Before we get rolling into anything, go ahead and promote all your social medias where anybody can find you.
Sure, yeah. So in order of most highly desired places for you to check out, my YouTube channel, Nomar Mendoza. It's like the first one that pops up. If you type it in on YouTube, Nomar Mendoza on Spotify, Nomar Mendoza on IMDb. Those are where I want you to reach out. I mean, you can't really reach out on IMDb. Twitter,
You can try.
at the Nomar Mendoza on Twitter, and mendoza.pdf on Instagram, in order of importance for me.
Perfect. So you did kind of say before we started rolling here, there is a little history behind the name.
Yeah. So Nomar Mendoza is a stage name. My official like birth name is Hector Mendoza,
Okay.
Jr. So
There we
look
go.
at that, yeah. So Hector is the name that people close to me call me. But when I started making YouTube videos like in middle school, I realized that wow, there's a lot of Hector Mendozas if you look them up on Google.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like I don't know how I can stand out from Hector Mendoza 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5,000. So I thought about, hey, why don't I get a stage name? What would be cool? And I thought of a bunch of different names. And then my dad told me a story of how he almost named me Nomar.
Oh.
Yeah, and which is Ramon backwards. So it's my grandpa's name flipped around. So it's Ramon.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Didn't even... If you wouldn't have said anything, I wouldn't even...
I know. No, I freaked out my vocal instructor because he was like, you know what you look like? Because he's like an older guy. He's like, you look like this old black and white actor from like the 1920s. His name is Ramon Navarro. And I was like, oh, really? Whoa, check this out. I told him to flip around the name. He goes...
It just completely blew his mind.
Yeah.
Because you don't think about that, and you're like, wait a minute. If I flip these letters around, it spells something completely
Yeah,
different.
exactly. So that's why I went by that stage name. And I thought I was in the clear. I thought I was the only Nomar Mendoza because I checked first.
Yeah.
No, now there's some Filipino kid from the Philippines who's like 9 years old who makes YouTube videos. And now when you look up Nomar Mendoza, it's me and some 9-year-old kid in the Philippines. And it's like, what do I do?
Yeah. I'm junior. He's the third.
Right.
So that's how you do it.
Yeah.
So to jump back a little, where are you from originally?
So I was born and raised in Reno. My parents are from Mexico. My dad's from LA. He was born there, but all my family's from Mexico.
All Mexico heritage.
Yeah, so my dad actually didn't grow up here. He moved to Mexico when he was 2. So he aligns more, or he identifies more as a Mexican.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And what part of Reno?
So I grew up in Stead.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's my old stomping grounds. And then I moved to Lemon Valley. And then I think I lived almost everywhere in Reno except for Damani Ranch.
That's funny. Because
Yeah.
mine was somewhat similar. I lived in Spanish Springs, then Sparks, then Lemon Valley, and now I'm out by Damani
Oh, wow, yeah.
right now.
No.
So that's where it's like we want to stay in South Reno.
Right, yeah, no.
like it up
Well,
there.
that's the last one I need for my bingo card.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I lived in Northwest. I lived in Sparks, Spanish Springs. I've just been all over Reno. It just doesn't want me to go away. Like, it catches me every corner of the
It's
city.
like, nice try.
Yeah.
Where you going? You're staying here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For now.
I know how those go.
Yeah.
So when you're growing up, what did you want to do for a living?
So when I was in elementary school, I wanted to be a soccer player.
Okay.
I wanted to be a goalie. I think it's because I was a little bit chunkier. So I was like, yeah, I'll cover the goalie, bro.
Yeah.
But like as I got older, I think it was middle school. I remember this distinctively. I was sitting on the couch eating like Pop-Tarts or something, and my dad and my cousin. I lived with. Growing up was rough because we weren't. We were dealing with a lot of the economic crisis that was going on. So we were bouncing from house to house, and we were very low income. And I had 2 siblings, and so I was living in this small duplex with my aunt, my 2 cousins, my mom, my dad, my 2 sisters, and like 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom.
Oh, wow.
And we couldn't use water if the neighbors were using water. Like it was like crazy. Showering was like so complex. Yeah. It was like insane. So we were all dealing with this.
Mm-hmm.
We were all crammed in this little space. I slept on the floor because there weren't enough bedrooms. But I remember being on the couch in like middle school, and my dad was talking to my cousin, and they were watching like a soap opera. It was just on. They weren't like actually watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousin goes, "Wow, wouldn't being an actor be cool?" And my dad goes, "Well, you got a lot of money. You got to kiss a lot of pretty girls. You're really famous. Yeah, I guess so." And then I was like, huh. And so like I signed up for drama class the next day in middle school.
Really?
Yeah.
And did you instantly fall in love with it, or did it kind of take a minute?
No, like I didn't. So we ended up moving. So I actually I begged my dad for the $10 registration fee.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I got it and I went, and then my dad tells me, "Oh, we're moving, by the way." So all I did was give them money and then not go in the club. So then I moved to California, and I was there for 2 years.
What part of California?
Modesto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Originally, I'm from Los Baños,
Oh.
which is Central California. So it was Los Baños with Merced, Modesto, Hollister, Gilroy, Fresno. So it was right in that middle ground. So I've been to Modesto plenty of times.
Oh, wow. Okay. No,
Yeah.
Isn't it great?
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's so funny because you drive through Modesto, and it'll say water wealth or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like that's the only thing they could highlight about themselves. We have water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same as Gilroy. It's like we have the Gilroy, where it's like it's the biggest garlic festival. And then you're like,
Cool. Yeah. I'm glad I'm not a vampire.
that's about it. It's like, no wonder it smells over here. No shade to Gilroy. That's where I was born. But still.
Yeah.
So you move down there, and then this is happening in middle school?
Yeah. So all throughout middle school. So like the first half of middle school, 7th grade, the first half of 7th grade I was in Reno, and then that's when we moved.
Mm-hmm.
And then so from the second semester of middle school, 7th grade on, I was down there, and I wasn't acting then. Then I was we were like struggling financially, so we were like bouncing around a lot, and so I wasn't really thinking about acting. I was thinking about filmmaking, which I guess in terms was acting.
Mm-hmm.
So I stole my cousin's camera. By my cousin, it was my uncle's camera. That's why he got really mad when I lost it. So I used it to make like little episodes on YouTube. We made like a show,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really dumb. It's still up there. If anyone can find it, 1, I'll be very shocked. 2, please don't. It's very not PC.
Yeah, I don't want to relive that.
Yeah, no, yeah. So it was we were doing that. Me and my cousin were doing that. We were having a blast. We made honestly, so I was making YouTube videos since I was 4th grade. So I had a lot of editing skills up until then.
Okay.
So I was using a lot of it, and watching them back now, I'm like, wow, this sucks. The editing is really cool.
Right.
I'm like, I had that going for me.
Yeah.
And then that's when I moved back to Reno, and so I have some footage. I wanted to keep making videos and all that. Then I meet high school,
Mm-hmm.
and that is where I joined drama class
Okay.
day one.
Day one.
And that's when I didn't stop since then.
And did you have the lane of where you wanted to go? Did you prefer, because you were kind of doing the filmmaking portion, did you prefer on stage or off stage?
Oh, I prefer definitely on stage.
On stage.
I'm always the center of attention. At least I want to be
Mhm.
everywhere I go. It's like going on a roller coaster. Like right before you're in the roller coaster, you're in line. So you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. Never mind, I should just walk out.
Yeah.
And then you're on, and you're like, woo, right?
Yeah.
And so that's me on stage. Like I get nervous leading up there, and then I'm there, and I'm like, yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And so like in high school, I was more into like I didn't see any opportunity for on-screen acting.
Sure.
So I kept making YouTube videos, and we entered film festivals, or not film festivals, but more like acting festivals, which had a film category.
Okay.
So me and my friends would make films, like short films, and we would submit them. And I got 3rd place for one of mine. It's still
Nice.
on my YouTube channel. It's like my oldest video. I don't know if I've unlisted it or not, but yeah. So like, I realized then I did not want to filmmake for that short film that I made. I was like, I don't want to be a director. This is so hard. I want to be in there.
Yeah.
I don't want to be over here.
Yeah, you would rather be in front of the camera than behind.
Yeah, I
get
made
that
the
completely.
mistake of making my friend the star, and I was like, why didn't I make myself the star?
Should have just been me. I've seen people direct and act at the same time.
Yeah,
Like,
Sylvester Stallone. Like, come on.
Yeah, Jason Bateman does it.
Yeah.
Like all these people, they can do it. I can do it.
Yeah, I
Why
should have
didn't I
done
do
it.
Yeah.
Not knocking him because he did awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We actually just had somebody on who was like, one of my biggest inspirations was Rocky, and it was like, that's one of the best inspirations to have.
Yeah.
Because he was poor, wrote this screenplay, wanted to get it done, nobody would do it. So then, as soon as somebody kind of gave him a little interest, then it was off to the races.
Yeah.
And he was like, "We'll do it, but you can't star in it." He's like, "I'm gonna star in it."
They're
They're like, "What?" I'm gonna star in it.
I'm gonna feed the turtles.
Yeah, these are my turtles. My name's Adrian. It'll be fun.
Right.
So as you get the love for acting going, what do you do after high school? Once theater is in your brain, what do you do after?
I was still living with my folks, and I was like, Mom, Dad, I'm moving to LA. I'm going to go be an actor. And I said, no, you're not. They were like, so long as you live under our house, you live under our rules. You're going to college. Now, college was really important for my family because, one, nobody has ever graduated from college in my entire extended family, mom and dad's side. So I was like, okay, well, I better, like, echarle ganas, as they say in Mexico. So I was, like, looking into it, and I was like, UNR is probably the best choice for me because I live in Reno. And funny enough, I interviewed for Harvard in high school.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't get in.
Okay.
But I interviewed.
Still interview.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
still something.
And so I had options, but I really wanted to go to UNR. And so I was looking at what majors I could do. I looked at communications. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do communications. I'm going to be a radio guy.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. And then my friend sends me a meme. Or it wasn't a meme. It was a clip from a Simpsons episode of them making fun of communications majors. It was a guy that was like, he was like he got in like a car accident or something. And he was like in the hospital. And they were like, is he going to be okay? Like, oh, here's the bill. Like, oh, can he pay it off? And he goes, oh, maybe. And then they look, oh, communications. Oh, no. Like, they looked at his degree, yeah. And so I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll skip that.
Maybe not.
Then I chose business. Why? Because it sounded easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was told later it's the party major.
Gotcha.
And I think they were kind of right. It was harder than I expected.
Sure.
It's a bachelor's of science, which is cool, but like it was harder than I expected, but it was also way easier than my friends who were like in chem, like biochem, and they were like struggling like midterms. Yeah. So so I studied business, and I took theater classes while
you were doing it.
Yeah. Never trying to waver from it, but I definitely got distracted. All the partying, all the chasing other things that was not that, I got distracted.
Yeah, as it's college. You kind of can't help it.
That's true.
That's why they made Animal House and, things like that, where it's like, yeah, college is there for people to learn, but you're also partying.
Yeah, exactly.
With a bunch of kids that also just want to party as well. Like everyone's there trying to figure themselves out, and it's like, oh, I've got to study tonight. Yeah, but there's a party going on. You're right.
Yeah.
You talked me into it.
Can't really, bounce out of there.
Yeah.
So in high school, I was a part of a group of a bunch of creatives. Where all those drama freaks were like super into like not just acting, but screenwriting and all that. So out of my group, a lot of us went to acting school in LA. Some of us went to screenwriting school in LA. And me, I stayed here studying business. So I felt like I had this problem. I know a lot of people do too that can relate to it, but I always compare myself to others, and I'm trying my best to stop. Yeah,
it's hard not to.
But it was really easy to, especially that time, to just like be like, wow, I'm really falling behind here. Now the person I'm talking about who went to acting school, she's no longer acting, and the person I'm talking about who went to screenwriting school is no longer screenwriting. Right. They all lost their passion. So I don't know if it was for the best, because now I'm completely passionate about acting, and I've done tremendous things that they have not. Now here I am comparing again, but I see the benefits of holding off a sec. Yeah. And so that I'm grateful for my parents being like, yo, chill.
Yeah, just relax,
Yeah.
figure yourself out, and then they go full blown, and
Yeah, and
you can lose it. If
they
you
really
make
lost
it-
their interest. That was the biggest thing.
If it's too much of a business or trying to chase the money aspect of it, then you're going to lose the actual love
For it, yeah, and that's really what it is. And I'm happy for them because they found other things that they love.
Yeah.
And so it was more like a discovery. But like what I'm trying to get at is it's like acting is something that's always been with me, and I've always wanted to do it. So when I graduated college, I didn't know where to start. I was like, yeah, I'm free. I'm ready. Let's go. And then there's nothing.
Yeah.
Now there's nothing.
Now you got to start from scratch again.
Yeah, and so what I would do was, and it was COVID time. It was like 2020, right when I graduated
Yeah.
college. So one of the main reasons why I wanted to move to LA right after high school was because a girl who went to high school with me, she was a senior when I was a freshman, and we all looked up to her. Her name was Tara Brown, and she's still kicking it in LA. She's doing awesome. Like she's to this day the greatest actor I've ever seen in my life, like in person. You know.
That you know.
Yeah, that I know. Yeah, Tara Brown. So we all looked up to her, and like she did this really cool thing in high school theater where she came in, and she was supposed to be. She's starring in a play for her school, and she had a Disney audition like the same day.
Wow.
So she came back like on the plane, like right on time for her scene in full makeup and costume, like right on cue. Yeah, so like she's legendary.
Yeah.
So I looked up to her and I asked her, I was like, yo, like I need advice, like help me out. And she said, well, you can't do anything right now. It was 2020.
It's hard.
Yeah, so she's like, make your own films, make your own this, and that, and make a website. And I was like, okay. And so I made a bunch of YouTube videos during COVID. They're still on my channel if you guys want to check them out. And I was just trying to make a reel. I went on this website. It was some sort of like film casting website. I think it's called Casting Networks.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was. I never got anything from it.
Yeah.
I was applying to a bunch of like apparently like big motion picture films like Spider-Man No Way Home was one of them, and like it was to be an extra.
Yeah.
And so like things like that, like I never got called back. One, because I didn't know the first thing about headshots. I didn't know the first thing about resumes. I didn't know the first thing about what reels actually look like.
If you've
and I
never
had
done it, how would you know?
Exactly, and I had no actual credits. So I think that's probably why I wasn't getting callbacks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was then I went on Craigslist. I would go on Craigslist every day trying to find like local acting jobs, like even Sacramento, like come on. And one day I landed upon one ad that was like 23 days old, because that's how long it's been since I'd done that. Because after a point I was just like, man, like Craigslist just probably isn't it.
Yeah.
23 days old. I was like, oh no, I missed the mark. And I messaged them anyway. I'm like, hey, I'm interested. Can I be in your movie? And that was Midnight Bloodshed, the first film I was in. Sequel Productions. Yeah, Matt Bonta.
Okay.
In fact, I'm starring in one of his films now.
Really?
Yeah, so we're still in production. That's why I had this ugly facial hair. Like, it is ugly.
You don't like the chops?
No, not at all. No, I want it gone. In fact, people call it like Mexican Wolverine. And I don't want any part of it. I want to be Mexican Spider-Man, not Wolverine,
It
you know?
makes you feel better. It's just barely started to grow in right here. So every time my hair would get a little bit longer, this patch was always bare, straight down.
What,
so
like a Marine?
Just like Wolverine, where it went down to right here, and there was just the gap in the middle. So there have been times where it was like, you trying to be Wolverine? What are you doing?
They probably look more threatening.
It just doesn't grow. Leave me alone. Like, it's not my fault. And then I've got patches and shit. But I had the same issue.
Yeah. Well, I mean, mine don't even connect.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what this is. So I'm ready to shave this off when we're done filming at the end of the month. But yeah. So anyway, so I got in that film. I was offered a role, and that's how I got there. I met Zoogie Austin. He was like one of my scene partners for that film. He did amazing in that film, by the way. He's such a good actor. And so he told me about a competition in LA. I went down there. I met a bunch of people from Reno down there, which is weird because like you should go to LA to meet LA people.
Yeah.
I went to LA to meet Reno people.
And then there's Reno people.
Yeah. And so I came back to Reno, and then it was just like a 1 week thing. And I met all the homies here, and then that's when I started seeing more opportunities like commercials and films that I've been in and things like that.
Do you remember during your time in theater something that stood out to you, like one of your first roles that you did there? Do you remember something from that?
That stood out to me?
Yeah,
In
like
what
one
way?
of those roles that you did where you were like, oh, I'm perfect for this, you know?
Well, I do have a story kind of like that. It was actually my last play in high school theater. So they were putting on the Crucible, Arthur Miller, as I'm sure you know. And so it's like a very, very like distinct look and time period.
Right.
What I mean by that is everyone's white because that's where it took place.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to be John Proctor. So bad.
Right.
And I would tell everyone all day in school, like in English class, I'd be like, hey, I'm going to be John Proctor, you know? And my friend Austin, who I mentioned, he was like, buddy, I'm sorry, but like our drama teacher told us these things, like these two rules, and the first day of freshman year. He said, there are some things we cannot control, and that is our race, and that is like what the casting director thinks of us, right? Those are two things we cannot control. And he said, I'm sorry, but like you don't look like John Proctor.
Yeah.
Anyway, so a bunch of us auditioned for that role in the school. And I remember I memorized the monologue. I was so ready. And I go up there and I just like zoned out. It was like, you know how they talk about Tom Brady when he gets on the field and everything just goes away and he's just like dead focused?
Yeah.
I saw this meme. It was like how like guys think. And it's like when we're like playing Angry Birds, like we just like zone in.
Just focused.
Focus on that one little ping, right? So like that's how I was. Like I was just so that like it's hard for me to find that in myself, but when I do, it's like lights out, game over. And that's what I did in that audition. And then so I came down. I later found out 2 weeks later that I got the part. And it was like more of I guess you could say a statement, but like really I knew that I could do it.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing. Everyone was like, "No, but like you're not white, man. You don't look like John Proctor." But like I just knew I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. And especially too, it's like it's high school stage performance.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like Broadway or.
Yeah.
But even then, like
Hamilton.
Yeah, Hamilton. I was just gonna say that.
As soon as you said that, it was like, well, you're not white. It was like neither is Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah.
He played Hamilton.
Yeah.
Like, that was well before that came out, but
and
still.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's a high school play. Let anybody audition who can actually pull it off.
Yeah.
And it's actually there to perform.
Yeah.
And make the best character, because there's some that we've always talked about when it comes to like the acting thing. It doesn't matter the race, sexual identity, whatever you want to call it, man, woman. If there is a part, whoever is the best actor should get that part.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the main point.
I think so too. And I was around in middle school when what's it called? When Donald Glover made that reference, that joke in the stand-up where he said, "Hey guys, I auditioned for Spider-Man, but they said I couldn't because I'm black." Right?
Yeah.
And so then one of the Marvel writers, Brian Michael Bendis, invented Miles Morales in the comic books. And I was so poor during this time, but I was like, "Dad, can I get this comic book, please? It's only $4, please." And then we went to the comic book shop and I got it. And to this day, it's worth like $5,000 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's Miles Morales' first appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember reading it and just being hooked. Like I was like, wow, this is such a cool character. But I didn't see it like, oh, he's Black Spider-Man. I saw like, oh, he's Spider-Man.
Yeah. Isn't he Puerto Rican as well?
Yeah, he's half Puerto Rican. That's
Yeah.
what a lot of people forget. So I remember I was getting flack by my sisters because I was offered the opportunity to go to a kid's birthday party dressed as Miles Morales. And my sister's like, "But you're not black. You have to take off your mask." And I was like, he's half Puerto Rican. He's half Latino.
If he is not in the sun, I think he'll be fine. Like, because I'm Irish and Mexican. So it's like, if I'm not in the sun, the tan goes away a little bit. But as soon as the sun comes out, then they're like, "Oh, okay, you're Italian."
Yeah.
You know?
Like I don't know too much about race and all that, but like what I do know is you can totally throw it out the window.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that's the fun. So aside from after you found these Reno folks and you started working with a few different people here, what was the other point where you went into musically performing?
Okay, so as far as music, I've been writing music since like second grade.
Okay.
Like I remember getting so emotional, like as an 8-year-old, being like, I want friends, and like I want my friend back, my best friend, you know. So I'd had this little notebook. I wish I still had it. I used to write songs on it all the time, and then I just never stopped. I kept writing rap lyrics in like middle school and like high school, and I realized like I love singing, but no one loves to hear me sing, because I wasn't very good.
I feel the same.
Yeah. Oh, hey, did you just finish your whole drink?
Oh, I just sip on it the whole
Oh,
time.
okay.
But get a little bit of that.
Holy smokes.
That'll put fur on your peaches.
Mm-hmm. I bet you I can down this whole thing in one shot. Yeah, I'm trying not to drink because I'm trying to get, a new physique.
Sure.
I hit the gym at 5 a.m. every morning now.
Yeah, same.
Oh, yeah? Oh, nice. Yeah, maybe I'll see you there.
But then it's like at the end of the day here when we're doing the show, I'm like, well, let's have a little drink. It's not, I don't want to have, like Cokes and things around where it's like, oh, let's just make mix. We're just going to sip on some
Right,
whiskey,
exactly, yeah.
as I've got a beer off to the side as well.
And it's a great choice because whiskey is the best.
I do love some. I'm hoping to one day get a nice, fun whiskey sponsorship.
That'd be cool.
If you're listening out there, whiskey folks, this could be you.
What's funny is, I
enjoying it.
don't know about making whiskey, but making vodka.
Yeah.
So I thought about making a vodka company. Now, this is not going to happen, but I just throwing the idea out there. You can trademark it if you want, okay?
Yeah.
So I heard that vodka gets better the more you distill it, like throw it in a purifier, like one of those water purifiers.
Yeah.
So throw some vodka in there over like several times, and then boom, you have like some high quality vodka, right?
You can get a Brita filter.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Get a Brita filter, get
Yeah.
the cheapest vodka on the planet, and then run it a few times, and then boom, you got Steve Longley vodka.
Yeah.
And then you sponsor it. I don't know.
It'll be my Irish side that'll spoil it because it's from potatoes.
right. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. So like that's where my business side comes from. Like I just like see things like that. Am I rich? No, but like I can like see things like that. Like, oh, business opportunity.
Yeah, it's fun because I see that whenever we have different people in here that are actors, entrepreneurial people, photographers, anything. It's something where ideas are kind of constantly flowing.
Yeah.
Where it's like no matter what you're doing, it's like, yeah, it would be cool if it was something like that, and then just an idea pops into your head and you write it down. It could mean nothing, but then at a certain point you look back, it's like, I think I can do that.
Yeah. But yeah. Sorry, I got sidetracked. Was something about the
You're good with the songwriting.
songwriting? Yeah. So in college, I hit up I saw that my cousin was making a lot of music. My cousin, Prince Mezzi is what he goes by. He is exceptionally talented. He is so good. He was making rap. Now he makes like lo-fi kind of like dream pop, and it's so good. Like he is so good. And I remember when he was rapping in college, he'd invite me over. He would invite me over to meet his friends, and his friends would make beats, and they would rap as well. And I was like, I want to join this. And then I made my own raps, and we were actually recording them, and putting them on like SoundCloud. Nothing too serious.
Sure.
But I realized like, wow, I want to really do this. And so like I wrote like, so I already knew how to play guitar. I knew how to play the piano, so I would try to like make like little covers on SoundCloud. They didn't go anywhere, but like it was just to get it out.
Yeah.
And then I realized after I met Nick Volantini that like you can actually like make music and perform like on stage. Wow. Okay. Well, I want to do this, right? So then, well, even before I met Nick, I was writing a song, and but like I think I was like greatly motivated by him to actually finish it. But I bought a Mac specifically for Logic Pro X because I saw a video about Phineas, Billie Eilish's brother.
Yeah.
Going through a life of him and like what he does, and he apparently uses Logic. So I was like, oh yeah, no, well, then I need a Mac. So then I bought a Mac.
Yeah, because look at him.
Yeah, exactly. All right, it's probably yield the same results. You know.
It's like a lot of people wouldn't know about him, but him and Billie Eilish, their success go hand in hand.
Yeah,
because she's the one that performs it, but he helps create everything.
That's so it like jars my mind because he is so good. And in my mind, I believe he's the greatest producer of our time, like hands down.
He's definitely a top.
But I don't like his solo music.
Sure.
It's so weird how he's like so good for others, but not for himself.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, like I'm sure people have different opinions, but like that's like how I see things, and it kind of teaches me like how to like view things from like back here to make sure I'm not falling into that same trap.
Yeah.
Because I do love helping others, and in fact, like when I first started acting and being in these like opportunities, I realized how easy it kind of was. Not getting them, not booking them, but seeing the opportunities and at least trying out for them.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to hit up everyone I knew who was acting in town that didn't have an agency, that wasn't doing these things, but always wanted to. I'm like, hey guys, it's time. Like, let's go. Like do this that I was doing. And then I realized that a lot of them don't want to anymore, or at least not like how I thought. And so, anyway, back to the music. So my cousin, I made my first song called Hard to Keep Up, which is actually like a single I have out on Spotify. It's my first single. Yeah, I was working on that for 2 years. So from 2021 to when I released it, 2023, I was working on it. And it's a song. I'm not going to say what it's about because I want people to interpret it. But
you got to find out for yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty evident if you read the lyrics, but it's a song I was working on for 2 years because it took so long. It just went through a bunch of different trials, not with myself, but I hired a producer from the Bahamas.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went on Upwork. I found this producer from the Bahamas, and he was helping me. The first time I gave him a sample of my voice, because I had the lyrics written, he wanted me to send him a vocal sample. He goes, "Brother, you can't sing." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, you cannot sing. You need a vocal lesson or a vocal teacher." "I'll be your vocal teacher." I was like, "No, he's trying to like get more money out of me."
Lose some more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, "No, I'll get my own." So I did. I got my own. He's still to this day my vocal teacher, Darren. He's such a cool teacher. He says he's older, but he's not like elderly, you know? He always says he's like that, but he's not. He's such a funny guy. He's speaking of Italian, right? So he taught me how Italians act like outside of like, or like during work. Because like he will do this a lot, like he will just like throw his hand on me a lot, very touchy, and then he'll always apologize and say, "Sorry, I'm Italian."
You see that a lot too with like certain people, how they interact with somebody. When they're laughing, you can tell something's going to happen. It's like it's like instantly it's grabs and moves and touchy feeling. You just like, I see that all the time with stuff. I'm like, feel free.
Right. Yeah, Jim Carrey has a joke where he's like, rich people, when they laugh, they go, "Everybody, hey, listen to this," you know, like they have like that kind of like similar reaction.
Yeah.
So
just the very eccentric.
Yeah. So I went through him, and he was like, "Go get vocal lessons," and I did, and I wasn't making a lot of progress, but then eventually did. By the time I did, I didn't need the producer anymore, because by then I was learning Logic on my own that whole time, and I was like, I feel like I can do this on my own. The book that changed my life during that time was The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss.
Okay.
Yeah, because I do love reading, and that book especially made me rethink how I want to manage my time in my life. And so that's when I realized, that's when I realized I did want a producer. That's when I hired him. But then afterwards I realized maybe I should invest more of that skill to myself.
Yeah.
So then I started mixing and mastering myself, and then for my music, and then other people came. Supply Demand came, and I mixed and mastered his songs, which are on Spotify as well. Nice. I mixed and mastered some of Nick Bolantini's songs, which are out as well. And like that kind of opportunity came because I taught myself that the investment in the skill is more important than just delegating it.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of having a whole bunch of moving parts, you just do it yourself.
Yeah. Which is time consuming, but I think in the long run it helps.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you don't want a manager. Like eventually, yeah, I'd love to delegate it, but you don't want a manager who doesn't know how the warehouse works. You want a manager that knows how it works because he's worked there in every single position.
Yeah.
And now knows how it functions.
Doesn't have your same interests in mind either.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're there because you have one set goal and what you want to achieve, and then they come in and it's like, well, maybe if we do something like this, it's like, no, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, we got to be all on the same page. So taking it over yourself, I think, is beneficial in a lot of ways.
Yeah, definitely. But like I said, very time consuming.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part. In LA, when I found out that they have this term called a survival job, I was down there for headshots, and somebody was like, "Hey, what's your survival job?" I was like, I'm a teacher. Like, oh, okay. You know, so I was like, wow, I guess that's what they call it. So like, not only do I have a full-time job, but I also got to navigate all these projects. I have this problem, Steve. I have this problem called, what's the word? Now I forgot the word. That's an example of the problem. It's called star syndrome, something, shiny object syndrome. That's what it is. Okay. SOS. I've been told I have this where I work on a project and then I'm like, oh, another project. I'll work on that project, and then that project goes away, and then I don't complete any of them.
Stacking and stacking and stacking.
Yeah. So that's me. But I found out that although I released my single 2 years later, it got out. So I've been working on animations because I animate as well for like 3 years now, and now I feel like those will come out at some point this year because I'm getting so close to it. And I realize that these things that I've been building, these seeds that I've been sowing, are starting to grow. And they may take a while, and I'm so impatient, but like apparently this shiny object syndrome is working out in the long run somehow, which is crazy to me. But luckily, I was able to perform with Nick Bolentini on stage and Supply Demand. We performed, we opened up for Afro Man in January, which was the coolest thing ever and the scariest thing ever.
Oh, sure.
I have a video about it on my channel, but basically what happened was that morning I woke up and I was completely hoarse. My throat was. So like I couldn't speak. Like it was bad. Like I even recorded myself being like, guys, I'm not going to do well today. Not only that, I had a short film to film that night with Mad Wife Productions, and I knew it was going to be rough. I was so scared. And I remember we were practicing like right before the show, and Nick was so pumped, and Supply Demand was so pumped. And
Ready
then,
to go.
yeah, and I was like, like nothing was coming out. Yeah, and I was so scared. But I went up there, and like it went away. Not only that, for the short film, I sounded like this the whole time. And I was like, guys, can I please dub it? And they were like, nah, it'll be fine. And then watching it back, it wasn't too bad.
Sure.
Yeah, so by the time the concert rolled around, I did pretty well. I felt. I don't know what happened. I don't know which deity.
It always happens when something big's going on. You get sick, a zit pops up, something happens that you're just like, well, now I have to fight through this.
Yeah.
And then it's never as bad as you think it is.
Yeah.
But in your mind, you're like, who am I, Rudolph? Like, you know, it's all over the place and something's going on. Then you see it back and you're like, yeah, it's not that bad.
Right.
But so now as you're going through, you perform for Afro Man, you keep going. Did you think maybe I'll focus more on the rapping, or because of your thing that you were talking about, you were like, I can do a little bit of everything?
So that's where I'm at. You know, that's the crossroads that I'm talking about. You know, shiny object syndrome. That's what I was mentioning. That's the crossroads.
Yeah.
I like animating. I want to make a film. Like I'm writing a film right now, like a feature. I don't know if anything will come of it, but like I love writing.
Sure.
I love reading. I love acting. I love making music. So the question comes, Steve, do I put all my eggs in one basket? My sister laid it out this way. She said, look, if you have this many projects, you stack them up like little by little, and you have 5 little stacks. But if you put them all in one stack, then you have one big stack. So she said, choose. Do you want a little bit of success in everything, or a lot of success in one thing?
Yeah.
And Dan Coe, who's an entrepreneur on YouTube, he mentioned something like that. He said, or no, it wasn't Dan Coe. It was a different Alex something who said that he went to different business owners who own a bunch of different businesses and said, if you focus your attention on just one business, how more successful would that business be? And how liberated would you feel? And most of the answers to those questions are like, yeah, I'd feel a lot more liberated, and I'd feel like more success would come from that. And it's true. So I'm at a crossroads because I can't imagine my life without music, without making music. I can't imagine my life without acting either. So that's where the crossroads lies, and that's where I made the decision. I'm gonna do it all. I don't anticipate or expect success. I expect to have fun, and I expect to just be who I am, which is those things. Yeah.
Gonna put the work in, and then hopefully the success comes.
Yeah. Right. And there's something that jarred my mind about that recently, like philosophically, and that is like, if you are the kind of person that does those things, because I believe, opportunity is just when luck and preparation meet,
Yeah.
then the preparation part I got to get down. That's the part I can't control. Everything else is out of my control, like stoicism,
I had something where that exact same phrase came up, but I couldn't figure out the preparation. I was like, it's when opportunity and, the other thing meet, and then you've got luck.
Yeah.
And that's how luck is, because you're there for the opportunity, but you also have to have the preparation to be there.
Right.
Because if it's not just going to happen out of the blue, it's people are there at the right spot, at the right time,
Right.
because they've put in the work to be there at the right spot and the right time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really what I hone in because, I'm a teacher. In fact, I teach acting at Take Two Performer Studio
Okay.
for preteens. Yeah, so that I always teach them like, hey guys, shoot for the stars and all that. But I also want them to be prepared.
Yeah.
So I made portfolios for them. I made headshots for them. I made resumes for them.
Nice.
Yeah, and so I'm really trying to get them engaged in you guys can do so much more. The only thing limiting you is yourself. And I'm saying this to 10-year-olds.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. I'm just here.
Yeah.
They're kids trying to learn. But
Yeah.
it makes sense because if somebody's sitting there telling you, then when they grow up in the future, then they're like, oh, he said it should be like this.
Yeah.
And then they'll know it, even if they don't think about it now.
Yeah.
In the long run, it benefits them.
Yeah, and the human brain is just pattern recognition most of the time. So if they hear that a lot and along the way in the journeys, hopefully their teachers do a good job. They hear those same things, then they will just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd hope.
Nevada's ranked what? 49th in education?
Yeah.
Yeah, right above Somalia.
Yeah. It's something terrible.
Yeah.
But then now you said you're currently working on a new film.
Yeah.
Can you tell us anything about that?
Yeah, totally. So I actually share this with Nick Bolentini. So my goal is to write a film describing Latino culture in my eyes the right way. Did you watch that Hot Cheetos movie?
I have. It's in my list.
Okay.
But I haven't watched it.
I'm not going to spoil it for you then. I'm just going to tell you I didn't like it.
Okay.
I didn't like how it represented us. Not that we're not. So there's a scene. Maybe I will spoil this. Is that cool? It's just one scene.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a scene where
It's been out for a while. So
yeah.
If anybody's mad,
And it's at the very
on
beginning.
Hulu.
Right. There's a scene where he gets in an argument with somebody at a gas station or something, and they call and they're like, "Hey, you wetback," or something. And he walks away, and he's all sad. He's like the main actor, and then his kid goes, "Dad, what's a wetback?" And he's like so distraught. In my mind, for my culture growing up, that's not how that guy would have reacted. He would have gone over there and beat his ass, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I want something that encapsulates me growing up in the Hispanic community and the Latin community, which was very different, I feel, in the sense that I went to a predominantly white school, and there wasn't a whole lot of us, and I didn't hang out with them.
Yeah.
But I grew up in the culture still. So whenever I'd see my cousins, I saw what their world was like. And then when I'd see my other cousins, I saw what their world was like. And so here were the skaters, the Mexican skaters. And here were the Mexican athletes, and that's what they were doing. And here are the Mexican gangbangers, and that's what they were doing.
Right.
So there's so much more to the culture, and it's so diverse. I look Asian. One of my cousins looks black. One of my other cousins looks white. He's ginger. He is red hair. Yeah, so there's so much diversity, and that's what I want to show. And so this film is about a Mexican gangbanger who has to go, him and his mom are undocumented. So he gets in trouble with the law, and they're sending him and his mom to jail or out of the country.
Yeah.
And the only way, it's kind of corny, but the only way that they can stop this is the judge says if he can prove he can go to college. Okay. So he undergoes whitewash therapy. That way he can do it. So progressively, this character gets more and more white, more stand-up-ish and like this. But then he realizes that he can do it without that, and that's what I want the message to be.
The premise that it doesn't have to be one way; it can be however you are.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't have to be a certain thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing to kind of shine a light on because it doesn't get that because. That exactly kind of how you said where it's like you have to be white and play white. And it's like, well, it's not playing a certain race. It's like you can Asian, black, Hispanic, it doesn't really matter what it is. You can just be professional,
Yeah.
you know, and be somebody who knows what they're talking about. And it doesn't mean you have to talk with a certain way, like Dave Chappelle's old
Dave
thing,
Chappelle,
"I'm here." You know? You don't have to be Walter Cronkite. You can just be, hey, this is what I'm talking about. This is how I'm presenting it.
Yeah.
Listen to me. Talk. Like, it doesn't matter what color you are,
Right.
as long as you're sitting there knowing what you're talking about.
Right.
And I think that's a big point.
Do you know David Gamble?
I don't know him personally.
Okay.
I know of
Oh,
him.
he's hilarious, by the way. He's a stand-up comedian.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he has this joke. It's so funny. It doesn't make sense if you haven't met him, so never mind, I'll skip it. But he has a joke basically about that, how like sounding white is like people don't, because he sounds white himself.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't usually expect that from him because he's black.
Yeah.
And it's just like him navigating. In fact, he has an article that through the RGJ.
Okay.
That's really popular. It's about him growing up black in Reno, and it's really like actually emotional. But like, yeah. So it's a lot of that what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me think too. It's like Reno is one of those things where it's just a big melting pot, but it also depends on what part of town you're in. Because it's growing up, I've known everything: white, black, Asian, you know, gay, straight. It really doesn't matter. I've kind of grown up around everything, so nothing's really stood out to me. It's like, yeah, there's my buddy over there and my buddy over there.
Yeah, exactly.
He's black. Okay. Yeah.
The funniest thing is, you know, I'm a teacher at Sierra Nevada Job Corps as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I teach students how to get jobs and all that. So we have different vocations, kind of like Percy Jackson, how like they go to camp and like they have like different sectors and like, you know, the like different kind of like god, like they're like the kids of different goddesses and gods, and like depending on which kid they're of, that defines like their personality almost.
Yeah.
So I have painters, I have carpenters, I have like office assistants, and depending on their vocation, that's their personality. It's so funny. But I'll have a class where half of it is like, I'll have some trans students, I'll have some gay students, in a class with like some kids wearing NRA hats, and like, you know, and there's no fighting.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's like everyone's so inclusive here, and like I want people to know that's the world.
Yeah.
That's really what it's not the news. This is the world. Like everyone's so cool with each other.
Yeah, just because you deal with one shitty person doesn't generalize everybody, because it's mainly the minority represents the majority.
Yeah.
Which is the stupid thing, because that one person who's being loud saying ignorant shit going
Yeah, it's so sad.
anyway, it's like they're the ones that represent it. It's like, no, like you can meet good people anywhere and everybody can just kind of coexist.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is the whole point.
I know.
And then, so now, before we get you out of here, what are you working on next? So you said you're at the crossroads, you're going through this film. What do you have next, as general of a question as
All right, I want to release so me and Nick Bolantini actually made like a wish list for 2023, like things we want to accomplish, and I have it on my refrigerator. Like,
nice.
Yeah. So on it, I wrote I want to release an EP by the end of the year. I want to not write because I have one written, but like actually get out an episode of this cartoon I've been working on for 3 years.
Okay.
And so those are the main projects I'm working on right now, an EP and that. So I'm wrapping up this film that I'm in, and that will come out, I hope, tentatively December this year, hopefully, if all goes well. So those are the 3 projects I'm focused on right now.
The animation, the film, and then an EP coming out.
Yeah, and the film I'm in currently, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Nomar, I want to say thank you for coming in here and kind of telling your story and explaining all of the little baskets you're working on.
Yeah, totally.
It. Before we do get you out of here, go ahead and promote anything you want to promote one more time, just for
cool. If Tomorrow Never Comes, a film by Sequel Productions, Matthew Bonte, and as well as please check out my YouTube channel. Please check out my music on Spotify. It really, really helps. And I really appreciate you having me on here, Steve. Yeah. Before I go, is it cool if I just down this thing? Really? Okay. You think I can do it?
I think so.
Okay.
My man.
Oh, yeah.
That's the good stuff. Well, you guys heard it here. Follow, like, subscribe, listen, do everything you guys can. For us over here, you know what to do. Stephen Longley, Longley's Line, Lightstyle Studio. We'll talk to you guys next week. Cool.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in.
It's fun, yeah.